Today I would like to explore the movement of the forward fold in a standing variation of it and in a seated variation. The Hastasana, also called Uttanasana, in a standing variation, and the Paschimottanasana in the seated variation. So the movement of the forward fold is happening from our hips, from our pelvis. First, I would like to show you what I see sometimes and what I don't want to see so much in the classes. So one version of it is when we are going with the arched lower back. So we are going this way down, a lot of opening in the lower ribs, a lot of pressure in the lower back, and a lot of weight to the back and in the knees. So this is more for people who are overly flexible, like I am. And the other version, what is happening here is that the movement of the hips is quite limited, also the hamstrings, and then the rest is happening from the lower back, which is bringing also a lot of pressure here, but in the other direction. So this is what I see, but also the knees are mostly extended and the weight is to the back, so we are trying to reach the ground, but we are not succeeding in it. So first let us explore the hips. Doing it in a standing position, we will now bend our hips, our knees just a little bit, just a little bit, so they are not blocked in the back. That will not allow us any movement, but when we are bending the knees a little bit, we are able to move the pelvis now. So, and in the pelvis we have a couple of reference points. The main reference point for me are the front bones here. Two bones here. Try to find them here. There are other reference points, like we have the top of the pelvis here as well in the back. Then we have our seat bones, bones on which we are basically sitting, and we have also the tailbone in the end. And the tailbone, if we imagine like we would really have the tail, it's a good reference because it can point up or down to the back of the room or up into the ceiling, depending on where we are standing. But let us use the front hip bones as a reference here. So we are still in a slight bending of the knees. We are placing our hands on the fingers on these bones, and then we start to bring them down. What happens here is all the back of the pelvis is lifting up. So we are lifting the back part of the pelvis, we are lifting the tailbone a little bit. Then when we are trying to do the opposite, lifting them up, all the rest is going down. The pubic bone is lifting up here. So let us explore now this movement, doing it slowly and consciously, maybe bending the knees a little bit more, noticing if it makes a difference, or lengthening them again. So we are moving our pelvis with our fingers. And that's the part from where the forward folding is happening. When we are coming into a forward fold, we are bringing this, we are tilting the pelvis to the front. Tilting to the front means that the front bones are coming down to the front. Tilting to the back means when these bones are going up and to the back. So when we're tilting these bones to the front, the spine is following, following. Nothing happens now in the spine. The spine itself is the way it was before. We don't go into overarching, or we don't move the lower back here. We're just going to the front. Now, at some point it will stop. You will not be able to go any further. To unlock this movement, let us bend the knees even more and bring more weight to the front of the feet. So not going so much to the back onto your heels, but going more to the front, still rooting the heels though, but a little bit more here, and then bending, and at some point we will release our hands. Now, if you don't reach the floor, still bend the knees even more, till we reach this point. Now, this is where we are. Notice if you need to bring the weight even more to the front. And from here, what we can do now is do some movement in the back. So when we're exhaling, now we can start to use our back, lowering it, lowering the head towards the ground. And then on the inhalation, lifting the chest, lifting the back. And going this way. So we are noticing now that this is just the movement of the spine, the hips, the legs, they're all in the same position. This is something we're doing with the spine. Now, after some time here, let us notice what is happening when we're starting to straighten our knees. When you arrive here, maybe you are even closer to the floor with the knees bent and you're lowering your head, so the whole front of the body is really releasing towards the ground. Let us now start, and with the inhalation start to lengthen the knees. You will notice a stretch in the back in your hamstrings. That's how we work here. We are exhaling and bending the knees again, and we're inhaling, starting to lengthen it, coming to this to this edge, to where we cannot go any further without injuring ourselves. So we don't want that, but this is a soft way to stretch the hamstrings. And then exhaling down and inhaling up again. So this is how you will come into the forward fold. As you've seen, I'm using the blocks to demonstrate how it is or can be. You can even, it doesn't really matter where you start, because we all start in our own ability, in our own anatomy. It really doesn't matter. Then what we do is, with the time when we know the dynamic and we are working on it, you will notice how the back of the leg is elongating, how you can come closer and closer to the ground. But always, let us not fall to the back. I don't want overstretching of the knees, especially in the very flexible people. This way we will micro bend them. For the ones who are not so flexible, you can stretch the knees all right. And then if once you arrive here and you want to go further, two versions are: you're placing your hands under your feet, bringing again more weight to the front of the feet, really stepping on your hands and then opening the elbows to the sides. This is the way to go even further. The second version is you will take your fingers, bringing them under your big toes, and then again stepping really on them and opening the elbows to the side. This is how we are going into the forward fold, not forgetting to release the head, the neck. If you're not feeling dizzy, that's all. That's a good way to do so. If you're prone to dizziness, maybe don't go all the way down. So, and from here, again, the way we come up is bend the knees, bring the hands on the hips, and then try again from the hips. The spine is in a neutral position. You are moving with the hands, your front hip bones up till you're coming into standing position. And then in a neutral spine, we're releasing our arms. So now let us explore it in a seated variation in a Paschimottanasana. I would suggest that first we start to sit on a block or a blanket to lift a little bit more, and then maybe we will have some support under the knees as well. So this is where we start. We don't start with straight legs, because what happens there is that we are coming to the back with our pelvis, because the hamstrings and the glutes, they are maybe just not long enough to support your straight spine. What we want is that our spine is straight. So again, for some of us, it is the most useful to sit a little bit more lifted, to have some support under the knees. And again, from here, from the front of the hips, let us again tilt to the back. This is how many of us sit actually here. Really contracted in the belly, hips are to the back. And the other version, let's go into the front. Again, maybe some of us are too much to the front, opening the whole front of the body. How to close and be more stable in the front of the body, I would like to do a different video on that. So for now, just the legs and the hips, and then exploring it for yourself. Again, for this you will need your knees bent, and then coming into a position what feels all upright. What we can do sometimes is use our hands, so we are lifting the flesh of the buttocks, so we're really feeling these sit bones. That's where we're sitting. Like, sit bones are really rooted, and the pelvis is in a neutral position. You have to find out the neutral position for yourself here. And then let us go into the forward fold from here. When we exhale, we start again to bring our front bones down and to the front, and explore with the neutral spine how far we come. We will not come that far, we will not come all the way down anyway. So then we are staying here, inhaling and exhaling. Maybe is there a little bit more, maybe not. Then inhaling here And then usually here we do the rest with the spine, so releasing the hands. And now notice how the hips, they are in the position where they are like done, they cannot do anymore. And then starting to walk to the front, rounding the spine, arriving wherever you arrive. You can use the blocks again for your hands. It doesn't have to be very far. And then lowering the head. Again, when we inhale, we start with the spine. And then coming halfway up, placing the hands on the hips. And then again, the other movement of the hands, which will help us to lift up. Maybe you notice that I keep my feet around hip width distance apart and I keep them active. So the toes are towards me, the feet are like I'm pushing into the accelerator pedal of my car, and I'm not falling apart in the legs. They are staying active. Notice if you have too little space in the front of your hip, you can open them a little bit more, exploring for yourself what's the angle which is most useful for you here, okay? And then if this works good, if it works well, you want to explore more lowering. When you go lower towards the ground, then maybe you will need the knees to be bent more. The dynamic is the same. So here you see I don't use even the blanket. I'm just sitting here with the knees bent and exploring on the exhalation how far I can go, and then from here bending. And here, with the time, what happens with the time, your heels are pushing into the mat here. So you can start to slide these heels away from you, noticing the stretch. And that's what you will do with the time, just sliding, 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 till your knees are reaching the ground. Maybe at some point, maybe very soon, maybe never, but your ability here is not related to how good you are at yoga or not. That's just your own anatomy, your own body, your own joints, your own connective tissue. All of ours are very different. The only important thing is that we honor our abilities, explore how far we can go there, but don't compare to what other people can do, because it's your own health and your own progress, your own practice. For people who arrive there, so we are like really sitting upright, we are able to sit with the straight legs and with a straight spine upright. What happens next? If we are able to bend all the way to the front again, versions here are take your fingers, grab your big toes, and then start to open the elbows to the sides, reaching, reaching, reaching to the front. Be very, very mindful here. Most of us overdo and most of us injure ourselves, especially the tendons at the end of the hamstrings. So this is where this pulsating pain can appear, and yeah, it's an injury which takes a lot of time to heal. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. And then, like, for the ones who have the body proportions, which, like, I have very long arms compared to my own legs, for example, or I'm able to come so much to the front and I want to go further, this is where you can use your blocks. Here you can bring the block and then grab the block instead of the legs, and there lower down. You will see people who have several blocks even. But again, it's not about how far you can come, how many blocks you will have in the front. It's about how well you know your own body, how well you know your neutral position of the pelvis, how well you know when I'm tilting from the hips or when I'm starting to use my spine. So that's it for now. If you have any questions or remarks, you can write me, and see you in the next video. This video gives you fundamental ideas around the forward fold, but everybody is different, and if you would like to know how it applies to you, to your body, to figure out if you have your own issues in there, reach out to me and we will figure it out together.